Yet I had residual doubts. At my first opportunity, I hurried west and went up to Titan, to Conrad Meadows, up to Conrad Creek Trail, to Meadow Glacier, and camped in High Meadow by the side of Warm Lake. Residual means leftover, and meadow is grassland. So William still had some doubt about the fear. So he hurried towards the western direction. He went up the Titan, reached Conrad Meadows, walked up the Conrad Creek Trail to Meadow Glacier. The next morning, I stripped, dived into the lake, and swam across to the other shore and back, just as Duke Copen used to do. I shouted with joy, and Gilbert Peak returned the echo. I had conquered my fear of water. So the next morning, he wore the swimming costume and dived into the lake. He swam across it to the other end and returned just like the famous American Duke Copen used to do. William shouted with joy as he had overcome his fear. His voice resounded, it echoed as the mountain peak named Gilbert Peak reverberated it. He had overcome the fear. The experience had a deep meaning for me. So this experience, it had a great importance in William's life, as only those who have known stark terror, stark means severe terror, and conquered it can appreciate. There is terror only in the fear of death. In death there is peace, and terror lies only in the fear of death. As Roosevelt knew when he said, all we have to fear is fear itself, because I had experienced both sensation of dying and terror of that fear of it can produce. The will to live somehow grew in intensity. So, here, what the writer wants to say is that since he had a great experience, he realized that death was peaceful. You remember when we read, he said that it wiped out both fear and terror. There was no more panic. It was very calm and peaceful. So he says that death was peaceful and only the fear of death was fearful. Fear of death was fearful, where he says that he was a stark terror seized him. He was shrieking underwater. He was paralyzed underwater, and he trembled with fear, and his arms and legs refused to move. So it was all because of the fear of death. Then he recollects the words of one of the presidents of America, Roosevelt. Roosevelt had said that all we have to fear is fear itself. As William had experienced death and fear of death, means he had experienced both, that is, the sensation of dying and the terror that fear of dying produces. So, after experiencing both, his desire to live grew immensely, and as a result, he felt released. He says that at last I felt released. I felt free from fear, and he was free to walk the trails. Trails means tracks, and climb the peaks, and to brush aside fear. Brush aside fear means to remove fear. So he felt released from fear and was free to walk up the trails and climb up the mountains fearlessly. So ultimately, Douglas had overcome his fear, and now he could enjoy his swimming and all the water games that he could. He was unable to enjoy them because of the fear of water. So, with this, we come to an end of this chapter, and I want you to do the textual question answers in your notebook, and some more will be sent to you. That's all for the day. Thank you, and have a nice day.